Whether you're a camel owner, wannabe camel owner, or simply an adoring camel fan, you're in the right place for some fun, useful, and interesting camel talk. This is the Camel Connection podcast. We're your hosts. I'm Tara.
And I'm Russell. Join us here for fun learning about camels, how to care for, train, and handle them. Plus, insider stories and interviews.
And also some interesting stories of our lifestyle with camels, the good, the bad, the ugly, and the very funny.
Make sure you've subscribed now so you don't miss out on an episode.
Now, some of these podcasts are an audio take of our video, so be sure to check those out on our blog for lots of how-to visuals and, of course, lots of camels.
This is your one and only go-to podcast, all about camels.
Oh boy, do we have an interview for you today. These guys are incredible, and we're dubbing them the Unstoppable Cameleers because when you're legally blind, how on earth are you supposed to train camels? How are you supposed to start a camel dairy business? This guy, Max, and his wife, Ronja, really are a great team working together, and we're going to interview them, and you're going to hear that today. And we're so excited to introduce them to you because they're incredibly inspiring people. Not only do they have a camel farm with over 40 camels and they're making body products out of their own camel milk. And as I mentioned, Max is legally blind. He has a guide dog to help him during his daily life. But they also have 2 children, and these guys are incredible. And I think they're just going to cover how incredible they are in this interview. So I'm just going to sign off from this intro and let's have a chat with them. Welcome, Max and Ronja, to our podcast here. We're so pleased to help you. You guys are from DromeDairy. Is that how you say it?
DromeDairy because of dromedary camel, one-armed camel.
And the dairy. Yes, yeah. So I love that name, by the way. It is so quirky and cool, and it's really unforgettable. So, you know, instead of saying dromedary, you're saying dromedary.
Yeah, dromedary, yeah, dromedary, yeah.
It's great.
Yeah, it's catchy.
And did you just wake up at 2:00 in the morning one morning and just go, that's what we need to call it?
No, we actually did go and sat down and wrote, had a look around other dairies, that had obviously names like Camelicious and Humpy Camels and everything. Everyone, of course, wants to have some association with a camel.
Yeah.
But that's 5 odd years ago now. Back then, no one seemed to have picked up on the Latin name, the dromedary. So we just thought of it, Googled it, and saw that no one had it, and we just okay, that's pretty much
Perfect.
it.
Do you think the name's worked for you?
Yeah, might be a bit too complicated for some. Not everyone gets it at first, but when they realize what it actually means, they're like, that's clever. Yeah. And some get it straight away, so it depends on.
And I think you find with the people listening in here that everyone will get it. They're like, dromedary, that's really clever.
Yeah, probably. I mean, I already keep joking as well. If you don't get it, you're not our client. So.
Well, that's a good way to weed them out.
That's it. Set your standards.
So tell us where you guys are located and a little bit about, because you obviously have an accent, so tell us where you're located now, but where you've come from.
So we are in the Perth Hills now. Originally, we're both from Germany. Came here when we were in our early 20s, basically. Max started his PhD here, and I still studied in the UK, so we went a bit back and forth. But then we settled in Perth, and since 2 years now, almost 2 years, we are in the beautiful Perth Hills where we started up the dairy.
Okay.
So you've been in Australia for a while then?
Yeah, look, I've got family over in Sydney and Victoria. And when I was 15, I actually had the chance to do an exchange year. So that was all the way back in 2000. So I came here for a year already and went to school. And then I always, that was sort of the decider for me to come back. And then we're in Australia now since 2010. So, 9 years. 9 years.
9 years, yep.
And who makes up your immediate family? I know you've got a couple of little kids there as well.
Yeah.
Yes, our first kid was Forrest, our guide dog.
Of course. Is he more helpful or is he more like a kid?
He is very helpful when he's in harness, but he is tries to push in as number one kid when he's not in harness.
Yeah, not the best. He's a Labrador, so not quite the best farm dog, so he likes to eat everything around.
With a stomach on 4 legs, yeah.
Yeah. We've had the pleasure of meeting Forrest.
Yeah, we have. Look, I mean, there might be some people that don't understand why that Labrador's around.
Yes, we would love to go into that.
Yeah,
So, Max, can you just explain to everybody why you have a guide dog?
Yeah, obviously, a guide dog you only get in Australia when you're legally blind. So I'm legally blind, which means I'm not fully blind, but I've got about 2-3% vision, peripheral vision. So I've got like a big central blind spot, and so just peripheral vision. Mm-hmm. But that's why I've got Forrest. But he's a great help, and I don't know. You know more cameleers, so maybe I'm the only blind camel guy in Australia. Or?
Oh, Russell's catching up.
I'm catching up with the focal side of things, but I have been blind before, if that makes sense.
Yeah, okay.
Doesn't make sense at all.
Well, it does.
But, I mean, Max, something we definitely noticed when you came and joined us for level 1 maybe a year or two ago, and now...
2 years ago now, yeah.
Wow, that went quick. Is that, I loved it when you called me and you said, you went on and on about what you want to do with the camels and the dairy and, the type of training that you want to enforce with the camels or to utilise on the camels. And then you just chucked in there, I'm legally blind and all this sort of stuff. And I'm like, wow, it just for you, it seems like it's not going to stop you from doing what you want to do.
And it obviously hasn't.
No, it hasn't. And I think, the camels, I'm so comfortable walking into a group of even wild camels. I think it sort of, transfers on, the animals, they all, because I'm relaxed, they relax. I think if you're excited, you see certain things maybe that turn you off, or I don't know, you have a higher fear level that sort of, carries over to the camel. And for me, I honestly, I've never ever had any serious problem walking through camels. I mean, I did get a kick or whatever once in a while, but more like accidental, never obviously vicious things.
Yeah.
So it's been very easy.
Yeah, I think everyone else is standing around him thinking, "Oh gosh, luckily you can't see the chaos going around him."
And that's one thing that we noticed when you came over to our place, Max, for the first training session you did with us. And and very quickly, I mean, I actually said, there's no worries here.
Yeah.
There's no problem. This guy knows what he can do and what he can't do, and he's doing it.
Yeah.
And you were, and it was just no issue.
Yeah, and I guess I'm physically, it's just the eyesight. I'm, everything else, I'm sort of fairly fit. I don't know. I can mention that here as well if you want. I was a Paralympic athlete, so had all that. Yeah. So I'm actually used to be a middle distance runner and competed in 2004 and 2008 in the Paralympic Games. So I'm physically quite fit. So I remember Jasper when I did the first pushing session with you guys. He took an awful long time to go down, even that long that Russell said I've never seen that long. Sort of stepped in and helped me to get him down after I don't know how long we took, an hour or something.
Oh yeah, so, as well. Yeah. So we know someone famous now.
We
didn't you know that? No, not that famous. Not really.
Oh, very good.
So you've come from Germany. You come to Australia to study your PhD, Max. But Ronja, you were in the UK studying. Is that correct?
Yes, I studied forensic science in the UK. We first went there together, Max and I. So he did a management degree. He liked to study, so he did that as well after his agricultural degree. Mm-hmm. And I started studying forensic science there. And once I'd finished that, I joined Max in Perth and then started working for a forensic science company here called Camel.
Mm-hmm.
So between that time where you were studying and then somehow camels entered into your brain, what happened between that time to think about camels and doing the dairy?
Was Ronja's fault, really?
Well, Max always had the dream of having a farm one day, and that was one big thing, I think, for him why we came to Australia, because he thought if he could have a farm, that would be here, because in Germany they're all little. He would have to go on roads with his tractor, and that obviously he can't do. Yeah. So, but now obviously we had to come up with something where you didn't need much of land. We needed a niche, really, because, we couldn't afford buying a lot of land or anything.
Yeah.
So one day I saw that documentary about the camels in Australia and how they're all being shot, being considered a pest, and about a guy that actually tried to find a purpose for them.
Yep.
Of camel rides and doing like milking and so on. And I thought, why don't you do this, Max? More as a joke. I never thought he would actually do it, because he talks a lot and then usually nothing comes around by it. But then like 2 years later or 3 years later, he actually got 3 camels, and I thought, oh no.
Oh,
you started something. Yeah, that was
I've gotten us into, and then it just went from there. So.
Okay, so what year are we talking of your first camels?
First 2000 and let me think, 16 or 15.
Okay.
Yeah.
So a couple of years ago.
Yeah, and about a year and a half or so later, I came to do the training course with you guys too, and that really, I have to say, that really gave me the confidence and really the know-how to get it all really kick off. Then I basically retrained all the new camels I got that just trained in 3 days, or like, let's say, call it a week. I did all that initial training to set them up.
Yes.
Yep.
And just the confident level, I guess, that also, again, that the camels feel, if I know what I want and I know I'll get there somehow, then the camel just doesn't.
Yeah.
I think, it's just that persistency about being consistent, and I think that's really helped me a lot. So we'll I can train camels now pretty quick, and which is important, I guess, for when we get them from the bush.
Mm-hmm.
That pregnant, we try to find pregnant camels, so we save some time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So then 3-4 months pretty much to get them all ready and all real calm to stand in the dairy. They drop a calf, and then the way they go, really. So that's how it happened now with our last group that we got last year. And they're all extremely good and all giving milk and all up and running. So the camels are really good here.
That's good. Do you think that you could have started the dairy without the training?
Well, we did start to do stuff, but it was a bit unfocused, or we tried to, it was, I think that confidence just was missing, and also we did speak to a few people, how do you do this and how do you do that, but I think as I said, that really was like a catalyst to really get us going. You sort of pick up some ideas here and there, but to have it all presented and then all funneled into that one direction, that really, for us, I think it was a big decider. Even my dad, he came along as well, and he's still really proud of being a cameleer, although I always wants a certificate from you guys.
He wants a certificate.
Yeah, he always keeps saying, mention that to them, that he wants a nice, he just thrives on stuff like that. So
maybe we'll have to get a special plaque done up or something.
Yeah, he was pretty cool. Yeah.
So you started with 3 camels, and now how many have you got?
We've got because we're sharing some with a riding operator. We're just I've got 50 camels at the moment. So
50,
by now,
wow.
So we've got a few more. We got they're not all on the farm here. We've got a few on 2 other blocks. So some of our weaners are on a different farm because they pretty much just hang around until they grow up so we can use them again.
Yep.
And then some of the ones that we currently use or the other companies currently using for riding, they're not here as well. But so we've got about 40 here now. So
Okay.
Wow, that's impressive in a few years, going from 3 to 50.
Yeah. Look, they multiplied pretty quickly, especially when they drop babies and stuff.
That's
so
true.
Buy one, get one free. So.
A BOGO offer.
Very good.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
So how many are you milking currently?
Out of those, we're milking 10. So we've got 2 groups of 5. Yeah, and so it's not huge, but it actually gives us a lot of milk for what we're doing.
Yep.
And I mean, the name is DromeDairy Body and Skin Outbranding, and obviously that suggests that we go entirely into skincare.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that's what we have been doing the last 18 months as well. We've sort of developed a skincare range.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And that whole story sort of after we've got the first camels, we all of a sudden we had some milk and we're like, what do we do now? Obviously look into talking to Scarborough, like a few cafes and cheesemakers and all that sort of stuff, until I realized, because I always kept squirting some milk out of the adder, and I realized how soft my farm worker hens have become. So I was like, that's really cool. And then we looked into that. I did a bit of literature reviewing and realized that there are some properties in the milk, alpha hydroxy acid, they're actually called, that are skin softening, and that the milk has a unique molecular structure that absorbs really quickly into the skin and moisturizes. Yep. So we're like, really cool. It's and then we've got a friend, and the grandma has actually been doing that, like skin products herself for like 20 years. Mm-hmm. So I had a chat to her. I gave her a couple of liters. She started on a bit of lotion and some block soap. And then, we sold that at a farmer's market, and people really loved it. We saw some cool results, like, even Forrest, my seeing eye dog, he had a bit of a rash on his belly, like a bit of an allergy. Mm-hmm. So we put that lotion on and it disappeared. My son had a bit of dry skin behind his ear. We used the lotion, it disappeared. And we're like, that's really cool.
Wow.
And then, but obviously, it was just at the farmer's market. Then we thought, okay, we'll have to do it. Like, I talked to many people, and they said, oh, look, there's either farmer's market or you do it professionally. Mm-hmm. It's not really much in between, and we obviously wanted to make a business out of it. So, we talked to a few contract manufacturers and started the whole development of a full collection. Yes. And that was back in 2017. And now, and we only last week, we now have like the full suite available. So we're just sort of launching it as we speak. So we have like 6 products, a moisturizer, a body, hand and body moisturizer, and then a hand and body wash, and then a shampoo and conditioner for your hair, and then a block soap and a lip balm. So together we call this whole collection Feel Good Collection. Yep.
The Feel Good Collection, did you say?
Yeah, Feel Good. Yeah, just simply because my hypothesis in life is always, I'm always, I always try to be a happy person, and I want people to feel good in their skin, literally. Mm-hmm. And that's how, the whole idea now. So now we try to go around to our partners and, that might be like gyms or climbing schools or swim schools, whatever, and see what they do. They usually do some sports or whatever to make them feel good, and then we, complement that whole thing with our collection. Yep. That's how we try to team up with a lot of people like that. Yeah.
That's really great.
Really excellent. Yeah.
So it sounds like the process of actually formulating something like a skincare range was, it sounded like it was a little bit complex. Am I right to assume that?
Yes. Yeah. It's quite, like, the principles are still quite similar, but the difference that we wanted to make is, like, we basically tried to combine nature and science as much as we could in a way that, like a lot of products, like goat milk, for instance, is a big, well-known skin product as well, like in soaps. But if if you really look into what they're using, they use 1% of powdered goat milk, to make the soap. So and that's like, it's like you have 5,000 soap bars and there's 5 liters of powdered milk in it. So which, once you powderize the milk, you change a bit the structure, etc., and the benefits of the milk. So it's like really, I was like, oh no, this is almost misleading. You can't just put 1% of milk in there. So we try to have a high amount of milk in there, and then also the fresh product. So we just put our milk into that, like the way it comes out of the udder. Like we don't powderize.
Wow.
So yeah, and that's the hard part, obviously. And I don't know, as you know, probably the milk is antibacterial. So the people that developed it with us were really impressed how long it lasts and stuff.
Okay.
But at the end of the day, it's the milk, so we have to preserve it.
Yeah.
Any skincare product or any product that has water of some kind in it needs preservatives. So we had to figure out a good preservative structure that keeps the whole product safe for the consumer, so it doesn't go moldy after like 6 months or whatever.
Yes.
So we've done all that. That took quite a long time. And then of course another thing is, for me at least, we wanted something that people, as I say, make them feel good. And that's usually the smell of the product. So, if you just have like tea tree oil or nothing, then people smell. The first thing, if people try something, they smell on the bottle. They like, don't like it, or they think it smells like camel. Yeah, that was true.
I don't mind that, but yeah.
Yeah. And so we worked eventually like back and forth a couple of industry days later with a skincare association here in Western Australia. I had this cool French guy, and he developed, some fragrances for the lotion and for the shampoo, and people really loved it. Like that took quite a while, but it is basically, why our product, I think, comes, was so special to people, because they now smell and like, wow, this is so cool. They just want to put it on straight away, and then they realize the benefits of it as a second step.
Yes.
Yeah, that's what took so long. It's a lot of testing.
Yeah.
And a lot of other hiccups around the packaging, the design, the product. There were things happening that I didn't foresee, or no one really.
Yeah. And you just can't really.
There's so many variables that are out there.
Just in business in general, so I can fully understand where you're coming from. And it definitely gets frustrating. You just want your product, you want it ready, you want it ready
out there.
And you've built up your audience to get excited about it, and something goes wrong. And
well, even when we discussed this podcast, I kept saying to you as well, like, should we really do it? If we then have too many people asking to try the product, we sold out, then other people have to wait. But as you said, there's never a right time.
There is never.
No. Sometimes you just got to do it. And I remember, now I think it was Alan Moffat. Have you heard of Alan Moffat?
I think the name rings a bell.
He was a racing car driver.
Yes.
And he, someone asked him once what was his key to success, and he said, "Well, you bite off more than you can chew, and then you chew like hell."
Okay.
And it also reminds me of Richard Branson too. Like I've read a couple of his books, and he says, when something feels good, say yes to it and figure out the how later on. And it just sums up business perfectly. It sums up our business. It sums up your business.
I like the feel good part in it. I have to remember that quote, because that if something #feels good,
Exactly.
Oh, good stuff.
So Ronja, tell us about how you've, obviously you're the one that kind of started this idea with the camels and watching the documentary, and then you've gone from having 3 camels to 50. How have you did you expect this? I mean, how has this evolved for you?
Oh, I know Max always has big dreams, and he always thinks big. So he was already planning his exports to Singapore and all the world before we even started. And I'm like, keep it low for that.
It sounds a bit like me.
I tried to stay outward for a long time, but he dragged me just back into it, because obviously being the GP that is, even though he thinks he can do it all, so he does most of it by himself, but there's obviously still a few things he can't really do, like mainly on the computer and with the design where you actually have to have a look. So yeah, obviously I had to put in quite a few hours as well.
Yes.
And yeah, but as you said, we just go by the flow really. We don't really, at least I don't plan a lot of things. I just go and see how it goes and don't like to think too much about where we could be in 10 years or something. We just take it step by step, because as you said, with the business and being new to the business world, there's so many things you can't foresee and you just don't know. And then suddenly you get a step further and you're like, oh no, now we have to think about this and this and this. Yeah. And so it's learning by doing, pretty much.
Have you found the changing from what you were doing previously to now running a camel dairy? Tell us a bit about how you feel about the changes that you've had to make, and what are some of the advantages or disadvantages of all that?
Well, I'm still working in my job, so I still work Wednesday to Friday as a forensic chemist, and obviously I still have the kids as well, so that all keeps me in my normal routine. And then Max, on my other 2 days, Max dragged me out to the camel farm, and obviously we had to move out to the farm now. Before we just pretty much built a new house in a normal suburb close to the beach, and then we obviously had to move to a farm in the middle of nowhere without any reception. Neither mobile. Now we're using satellite because we didn't have mobile phone reception or internet, so we're stuck in the middle of nowhere in a pit of gravel, pretty much living in a shed with two camels. So I was like, oh great.
I'm hearing you.
You kind of get used to the dirt and the dust, and obviously it has a lot of advantages also being here out there, where my son Timmy just loves the tractor, and every time he hears Max driving out of the shed, he runs out and wants to be on the tractor, pretty much driving himself. And just obviously having the camels around, they're just around the shed, so they come up for cuddle, and it's obviously a good life out here.
Nice.
So your original perception of the camel, watching that documentary with them, being shot because they're classed as a pest here in Australia, to how you see your camels now. Like, how do you feel about the camel? Like, what have you been taught by the camel?
Oh, they're just the best. Just when they come up and just how they look at you and giving you that trust. And even with Tim, he's so fast and he just runs off whenever he can. So often I just look away a minute and he's gone. And then I go to the shed and I see his head popping up behind the camel, lying down in the sand. And I'm like, come on, Tim. And the camel just looks at you and is like, he's all right, I'm not going to do anything.
Yeah.
And that's the way they are, their nature, and just calms you down and, just makes you happy being around them.
It's amazing, isn't it? I mean, like all throughout that process of getting a feral camel from the wild, and going through the process and the steps until they turn over and becoming a domesticated, friend. It certainly does make you think a lot about all the camels that are out there, how they just haven't been taught how a human being can be if going the right way.
They know us, and obviously they're scared when they don't know what's going to happen. And obviously with being shot at doesn't give a good first impression on us, you to them either. And it's amazing how quickly they learn that you don't want any harm to them, and they just start trusting you very quickly, and then like you said, turning into a friend pretty much. So it's amazing.
So have you had a chance to watch Max in action doing the what we call level 1 steps of getting the camel sitting and the halter and all that process? Have you had a chance to watch that?
Oh yeah, me and the kids are always at the window watching him, and usually he's got a few backpackers helping him. They usually stay on the side trying not to be in the way when Max goes on with his little stick trying to tickle the camel and make it push. And it's a bit scary to watch, to be honest. But I've got complete trust. Like, I know Max knows what he's doing. And it's like a full-on workout for him, and he comes in all dusty and sweaty, and it's like, well, that was hard work. But we've got a big bull here, and he had to train him, obviously, and he just he didn't want to move at all. He was just standing there stubbornly, like you can imagine. And then he just flicked one leg, and Max was just thrown around the whole paddock because obviously they're so strong. It doesn't take much for them to throw. Yeah, and it's,
And did you think that dealing with camels would be as nice and easy as it has been for you?
No, actually, I mean, at the start, I didn't really know too much about it. I mean, I've worked with other animals and cattle and stuff before, but it's such a different level working with a camel because I reckon they're so much smarter.
Yeah, for sure.
And just the affection they show as well. Like, it's just sometimes, we're quite busy and always run, and the milking routine just has to, tick over. But then these moments where you stand there for a second and then that big camel 2 meter 10 or whatever comes up and rests the head on your shoulder and just breathes into your into your ear sort of thing. It's just so beautiful. Like they're just so that sort of gives you the whole purpose of doing it as well.
Yes.
So they're just really, really cool animals. So
Do you actually now that you've got yourself quite involved in the industry, for if there's such a thing, I mean, for such a word, but you've developed your business, you're well on the way of expanding it by the sound of it. You've done the training, you've got the herd, you've done everything, sort of step by step. But overall, do you see a future in the camel milking industry in Australia? Is the question I'm trying to lead to.
Yeah. And are you just talking milk for human consumption, or
generally? Generally, whether it be for cosmetics or whatever.
I would say there is definitely a future. I think in regards to the human consumption side of things, the overall milk price needs to go down, which, it's already come down like $10 or whatever since I started. So it's obviously making that process more efficient and, I don't know, maybe less labor intensive, whatever, to bring the cost down. Because, the price, that's one thing. The price is justified. Camel only gives, a sixth of what a high-performing bovine cow is giving. In terms of milk, and then it, because camels are not pregnant during their lactation, so you need, maybe only 1/3 of your overall herd is lactating at any one time. So you can times that, if you times a normal good organic cow milk times 3 and then times 6, then you're pretty much where we are with the camel milk price. So the pricing makes sense because you need more labor for a camel, like per number of head, than in a cow dairy. But to come back to your question, yes, I think there's a huge potential, and I think what we just need to see is that the perception of people, the cultural. I think it's a cultural thing as well. It's the milk, but it might also be actually.
Most people don't even know we have feral camels in Australia.
No, that's right. And I always keep saying to people, when people settle here, we're all somehow somewhere around Europe, a lot of the settlers back then. And they just, what they did, they just took their sheep, their cattle, Holstein Friesians, German, Dutch breeds. So it's just, that's the high-performing cow here. But they struggle if they have temperatures above 15 degrees. So basically, they struggle all year round in Australia. So it just makes sense to farm an animal that is so. Why do we have so many camels in Australia? Because they are so well adapted to these type of environments. So why not use them? I think in the wild goat industry, they're doing that over in New South Wales. They had a lot of sheep stations that struggled with their sheep, but they had all the feral goats. So then they started trucking them out.
Oh, they certainly have.
Business. Yeah, and so if that happens with a camel, also not just talking milk, but maybe also meat, but at least you're utilizing the overall animal rather than just, shooting and leaving it to waste. It's just...
It doesn't seem to make sense to me and to a lot of people that, we do have this resource out there. and you know, if it's education. Educating the populace that this meat is available, that it's high in the mineral content and the vitamin content, and potentially medicinal purposes as well. So it really does boil down to people just getting educated. And how do you do that en masse, you know, when
I think
the establishment's already set up for your beef, your sheep, your pigs, whatever?
I think having people like Max and Ronja just doing their thing with the skincare, and just, you know, there's other little micro dairies around, just camel dairies that are doing their bit to create that awareness. And I think it's really, really important what you're doing, you know, because we have this resource in Australia that is being wasted. And if you personally have experienced the benefit of the milk and how it absorbs into the skin and how it can, you know, resolve some minor, possibly major skin issues. I know we can't assume anything or proclaim anything, but I know a lot of people have had some really great results.
We've got anecdotal stuff,
with the skincare and the milk as well.
Well, that's why we went into skincare as well. I mean, it has the advantage we can ship it. It's not a fresh product.
Yes.
So we can ship it everywhere, basically. And also, people are more likely to try, a new skincare type than drinking it. Like, a lot of people I realize they actually don't drink cow's milk or goat's milk. No milk. They don't drink milk. So why would they drink camel's milk? So... But they often all use some sort of skincare anyway. So then you can just say, look, you know, we want to try this. This has this and this benefit. And it doesn't hurt. Like, they usually try it if it smells good. And as I said earlier, you know, that they're even more likely to try it. And that's, I think, we see a big future hopefully there. I mean, otherwise we wouldn't have, pursued this path as we did the last couple of years. So,
You've got to believe in, obviously, you know, you've got to believe in the animal that's producing it. You've got to believe in the result that product can produce, which is the milk, you know. It's all, and if you guys are believing it, then that's your passion to spread that message out to other people. So that's how, I mean, it's like us with the camel training stuff. It's like, well, we believe that camels can be trained gently and kindly and compassionately, and that's our life purpose now. That's our thing that we need to do. And, you know, it grows and grows and grows.
And also, I mean, you know, from our perspective, the more people that do get involved with camels, such as yourselves, then, I mean, if they're getting the camels from the wild, the feral camels, and going through the training process, then, you know, not only are they getting that relationship, which could last 35 years with that camel, I mean, plus, it all depends on how long that camel, you know, lasts, but also that's a camel that's actually just been saved.
Yeah, exactly.
And you know, it's not that they owe us. I mean, we owe them more than anything because of the companionship and the love that they show, and we owe them. But it's a real two-way street, and that, you know, instead of, as you said before, you know, having them drop and rot on the desert floor with a culling program, then here's another animal that's been saved.
That's it. And obviously, the more people that get involved, the more we can help to spread the word and increase that awareness of camels being there and that they can actually be useful and don't need to go to waste. So
that's right. Yeah. That's right. And, you know, I mean, as much as, you know, the people often say, you know, they're biting, kicking, spitting animals and all that sort of thing. I mean, any animal, including a human animal, that's in fear and cornered, of course they're going to defend themselves. And but, you know, we have that opportunity to actually show them how a human being can be if we choose to be. And you know, that's part of the beauty of actually getting camels from the wild and training them into being, you know, a beautiful, loving, domesticated animal.
Yes.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, one other point you can also make is educating people is also educating the government, I suppose.
Yes.
Instead of spending $200 million on killing them, you can spend that on logistics, because obviously there are a lot of camels, but there's also something else in between them, and that's just space. So you just have to overcome those issues as well, of course, to actually, it's not as easy, if you've gone out there and there are a lot of camels, but there's also a lot of acres and land in between, and no roads and stuff. So, but if you use some money, instead of killing them, to muster them strategically or whatnot, and use them, then I think there's a lot of potential for sure.
Absolutely, and my original mentor, Phil G. I mean, he was constantly on this. And, and the argument's gone back, 30-odd years now, maybe even more, but of a systematical removal of the animals, because you're never going to get rid of the feral camels in Australia. There's too many, and as you say, there's too much space. And but the systematic removal, put them on pastoral lands and treat them as a pastoral animal.
Correct. Yeah, I think so. They breed, I think, about 10% rate. There's, I think, one study I've read is about 1.3. There's always different numbers. 1.3 million camels. If they breed 10%, and they shoot about 100,000, they just about maybe keep it, but probably not. They even go backwards. There's always more camels there.
Oh, yeah, for
sure. It's definitely, sustainability-wise, it's more sustainable to have, like Russell said, a systematic approach. It's just more it might be more costly to set up originally, but just think of the job creations and all sorts of things, and it's such a we could go on and on politically, but it's really something I think that we're doing as camel owners, you guys included, and anybody else listening to this that has camels in Australia. We're helping by owning camels, we're helping by starting dairies, we're helping by doing the commercial rides or operating commercially, trekking, and we're helping that. And that's why we truly believe that there definitely needs to be more camels in people's paddocks, over cattle and sheep and all that sort of stuff.
And that's what we try to do in the coming years. So buy our product and
that's it. And this is the thing, when you when people support businesses like yours, and obviously ours too, but yours in a product sense, is that you're supporting that the future of camels in Australia, that they're not going to be shot now, because it's not only, I'm thinking for us, we would love to go out there and muster, some camels up and bring them home. But there's so many legalities to that. And, if you catch them, you can't release them and blah, 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 blah. And it's costly, as costly as you probably know. So it just goes on, and it just makes it impossible. But, for us, we feel like, well, we don't want to breed them here on our property. We want to go out and get them, and, because we know that it's one less that's going to be shot. So.
Yeah, so I've actually got a question with regards to, you've done it, okay? You're well and truly on the pathway to, the goals and dreams that you're constantly reviewing. Now, there'd be people that would be listening to this podcast who are, maybe they haven't made that decision yet as to whether or not they'd want to get involved in creating a camel dairy, whether it be for milk, products, whatever. Both of you, now obviously you're going to have a different answer to this question, so I'll ask you first, Max. What would be the one thing that comes to mind instantly that you want to tell that person who's thinking they're going to start a camel dairy?
Be prepared of the workload and really think about it, that you have to not only milk a camel once a week, but we milk them twice a week, 7 days a week, which means
they might not do.
They might not do. What do you mean?
They might do something completely different.
But he was asking in terms of dairying, wasn't he? Camels in general, obviously that's a different story, but in terms of a dairy, for sure, it's It's certainly the workload. I am really passionate about farming, and I know farming always involves a lot of work. Yeah. Dairy farming is probably the most involving one because you don't get much holiday or any at all. Mm-hmm. But I just I like it to a degree that I relax. When I had a big day in the city trying to talk to people, selling product, whatever. I come back to the camels, and I really look forward to the milking routine because we, the camel and me, we all know what we're doing, and it's just like maybe if the radio playing, and that's it. And it's like for me, it's a bit of a relaxation as well, even though it's on a Sunday afternoon and other people might be sitting at the beach. So that's my answer.
Okay, and what about you?
And for me, it's probably do your research first.
Yeah,
maybe don't start by just getting camels and seeing how you go, like we pretty much did. It's probably a good idea to start with the training course, like you're offering, and get some experience. See whether you've got a feeling for the animal, whether you like working for it, and then getting an image, getting an idea of where it could lead you, and then going from there.
And also whether you feel comfortable around camels. Doing a training course with you guys, for instance, could tell a person as well, okay, this was great, but maybe not so much for me if I'm on my own on my property and do all that. But that's a good decision then as well to say, okay, I like camels, but maybe not to the degree that I feel comfortable to doing this on my own. Yeah. That's a good finding as well, I suppose. So
that's a good tip.
Yeah, that's a good
and
tip.
we say that to people too, like especially those that don't own camels. It's like the courses that we offer, it's the perfect time to do it when you don't have camels, because it will just cement in your head or give you direction on which way you want to go, or do you want to commit to that riding operation that you wanted to start, or do you want to commit to just having them as pets, or totally. So that really just makes sense to set those foundations.
Well, it should be on everyone's bucket list to do that, really. just because it's so cool to once in your life have trained a wild camel to sit down in 3 days and lead it around. It's such a cool experience.
Couldn't agree more.
Yeah. It is. I mean, I don't know if you know my history, but I was an English lecturer. And and it captured me.
Got your book with your signature, actually.
Oh, okay.
Who's the famous one now?
I know a famous guy. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, but I wasn't in the Olympics. Yeah. Oh no, that's it.
Yeah.
And once it's sort of like the camel's turning leaf, isn't it? Once a human turns leaf, that's it. You're captured forever. Mm. And you'll always somehow have camels in your life.
That's true. Yeah.
Which isn't a bad thing.
No.
I mean,
brilliant.
I'm already thinking of how to retire with camels. I mean, they're just they're part of your life now. I mean, the kids leave home and stuff, but some camels will stick with us for years and years.
No,
So,
it'd be a bit hard on a yacht.
Yeah. So guys, tell us, just so we can wrap up here and really give people a direction. So you've given us so much wonderful information. Yeah. We've covered a lot of things, and it's been really fun having a chat. So where can people find you guys? I know you're on social media and website. Do you want to give people the direction you want them to head to if they're interested in the product, and also following you?
Yeah, of course. I always love doing that. So as we mentioned at the start, our name is DromeDairy Australia. That's the company name, or DromeDairy Body and Skin. So if you go to www.dromedairy with an I as the dairy.com.au, that's the website. So it'll have the product store there, and all the product. We'll have our story there and what we do. And then of course we're also on Facebook and Instagram, and you can follow us and like us there. And we try to be mix it up and always show you some products now that we've got them finally, and also, a bit about our life here on the farm and, what camels do. We always do a hump day camel fact every Wednesday, because it's hump day, and it's just so appropriate to have a hump day camel fact to, educate people about, interesting facts around the camel. It's not just, why do the dromedary camel has one hump and the Bactrian has two humps, but it's also stuff like, I don't know, did you know that, Google used a camel in the desert to do all their Google Maps filming? They had a camel running around with a camera, like any interesting facts.
I've seen that photo. It's great.
So, yeah.
And I personally love I'm more of an Instagram user than Facebook, but I love it. Like and you do all those things. You show a little bit of farm life, and you show a bit of, did you know about camels? Because it's all about education, and people have got to love the products that they want to use, and they got to, in this case, we've got an animal that we can love and use their product. And I think that's a really wonderful thing.
Yeah, we'll make sure we put up all your details on our page as well. With this,
and so what we've done as well is also we've got this whole collection, but we also created like the same collection as a mini collection.
Yep.
So for people that are not quite sure, or they're just a bit skeptical, but don't want to spend all the money. Well, it's not that much actually on the full collection. But we've got like a small collection that we are actually just uploading now to our website, so where people just get the full suite of products, but in 30 ml bottles and a lip balm and a small box soap. And it's $29.99, so it's like under $30, just and it's a good way of trying it. It's a great gift idea, and stuff like that. So
straight away, Max, I thought of the travel pack.
Yeah, traveling.
Yes, that's what it is. Yes, as well. Yeah, definitely.
The travel pack instead of the little shots of whiskey, then you can put something on your skin and feel great.
Yeah. No, for sure. No, that's right. I definitely agree. So that's what we've got as well. So and so far, as I said, we've only gone live with the products just last week, sort of thing. And there were a bunch of people obviously following us really closely. They already got or that product is now on their way, or they've already just received it. So we've been sending that out to them. But, everyone who's a camel lover, should definitely give it a go. And, just check out the website and, try us and like us on Facebook and follow us on Instagram, please.
Fantastic. You guys are very inspirational. And to be honest, it's been an honour to have gotten to know you and being part of your journey in some way. And
big way, as I explained, I try to put it, as I say, you acted as a catalyst, and I always, I'll probably always be grateful for it, because otherwise I would probably be still stuffing around somewhere in the corner.
Wondering what this long neck thing is.
Oh, yeah. Well, guys, it's been a pleasure. We'll wrap it up now, because I'm sure the listeners are going to rush off to your website and have a sticky and see what they can get there.
In case if you're from overseas, I'm just talking to the listeners, having a sticky is
having a look.
Investigating, having a look, okay?
Just FYI.
Yeah, that's right.
And is saying that international, we do ship international as well. So don't be scared. Just because you're in the UK and America, wherever you just hop on there.
Perfect.
and order. We'll ship international as well. So
fantastic,
right. Excellent.
It actually probably get to our American friends before it gets to us in Victoria, Australia.
Who knows? It might even get to some wholesalers overseas. These
if you're
podcasts can go anywhere, can't they?
Drop me an email.
Absolutely. The sky is the limit, guys.
Fantastic.
And keep on camel connecting, and we love your work, and we're so grateful we can share your story with all our listeners here.
Good on you guys.
Thanks for having us as well, Russell and Tara. It's great.
Okay, guys, wasn't that interview absolutely amazing? Just quickly, before we sign off here, we are running a special promotion for any listeners here that want to purchase any of DromeDairy's camel milk body lotions and products and things like that. You can get a 10% discount by following the links either below this podcast or wherever you're listening to this on YouTube or whatever. Follow the link to our website and you'll receive the promo code for 10% off. This is a great steal. especially if you're international. So definitely grab this up while you can. So don't forget, go over to the link underneath wherever you're listening to or above wherever you're listening to this and go ahead and grab your 10% promo code for DromeDairy body products.
Virtual Camel School is coming up. Don't miss your chance to learn our Camel Connection trust-based camel training method from the comfort of wherever you are in the world. You'll be joining us and other camel-loving people in this dynamic foundational camel training course designed for camel owners and those that want to own camels in the future. No matter if you've been in the camel game for a while or you're only just starting out, you're going to love our virtual camel school with pre-recorded training videos for you to watch and live weekly training videos with us to cement your learning and have your questions answered. We guarantee you'll learn something new, so head over to cameleeracademy.com now to learn how you can join.